You guys, we might as well go up there. Hello. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here this morning. I'm Dr. Mike Masiska. I'm the medical director and department chair for emergency medicine at Riverside University Health System. I'm also the medical director for our disaster medicine team, and in an administrative role, I support our lab and our blood bank. I brought with me here today Dr. Yamil Lopez, who's a pathologist, and he's the director of our transfusion center and oversees our blood bank, as well as Cedric Bull, our lab director with RUHS and has operational oversight over the lab. So it's going to spend about 5 minutes talking about the blood shortage and how we got into this situation, the severity of the situation, and how I'm hopeful that we'll get out of it. And so this is a call to action today, and really appreciate your support. I'm going to try and describe the situation as accurately as I can without adding any fear or hyperbole, but it has been dire. And these men here are unsung heroes at sort of addressing some of this. So the critical blood shortage has been a national issue. It's gone on for some time, but it's certainly been worsened and intensified by situations related to the pandemic. And it is a clear and real danger to our community, both nationally and locally. There is a tremendous mismatch that's occurring between what our patients need and the supply that we have. In many ways, blood is a miracle drug. We see it bring patients back from the very brink of death to life right before our very eyes, and without it, patients will die. I'll cover how we got into this shortage. So why the shortage? So we as a county have 3 major blood banks that supply blood to us. It's the Red Cross, the San Diego Blood Bank provides some blood to the south end of the county, and LifeStream supplies a majority of our hospitals in the county. They support 17 acute care hospitals and 4 major trauma centers. And as a result of my own sort of frustration at the lack of blood for our patients, was able to discover some very key things that are very pertinent to our county. Historically, 30% of blood donations that come into Riverside County have come from outside of California. Pre-COVID, we have not been able to supply our own patients through our own donations, which is alarming. And when you get into shipping, supply line, decreased donations, it means that we haven't had the infrastructure to support ourselves and be independent. Additionally, 30% of the blood that our patients receive actually comes from high school and college blood drives. It's a major resource. They can do a lot of donations in one day, sometimes somewhere between 400 to 1,000 units. And with schools being closed and donations not coming back online, those 2 major things have impacted 60% of our blood supply, blood coming in from outside the county and school closures. Limited reserve on hand. So blood isn't a resource that we can store and put into warehouses and pull out in the event of a disaster. We can only store it for so long. It has to be replenished over time, and it has to come from donors. So the system is strained at its best. It's a fragile infrastructure with no major storage or reserve, and we need to be self-sufficient, and that was prior to COVID. So with the pandemic, it eliminated many blood drives, businesses being closed, schools being closed, faith-based organizations not gathering, priorities shifting, and so we got into a situation where the crisis really over the last 6 to 12 months has been very alarming. We are proud to say that we have not had a patient that any of us are aware of that has died as a result of a lack of blood. But we are unproud to say that there have been multiple times in the past 6 to 12 months where these leaders behind me have looked at their shelves and all of the blood in our health system has been deployed to the bedside to be given to patients. So the next patient or another patient in the building needing blood would have been without that resource. Some of the work that they've done to address that is that we've seen incredible partnership and support from our neighboring hospitals. They've been willing to send 1 or 2 units where they're down to 4 so that one facility wouldn't lose a patient as a result of that. But clearly not a great situation to empty our shelves. Trauma centers are tremendously impacted. So as I talk about the amount of blood and being down to 0 units on the shelf, A single trauma victim with a major injury could consume up to 40 units within 1 to 2 hours of arrival. So you see the tremendous mismatch. When our trauma surgeons are aware that we're out of blood and they're taking care of a patient in front of them, that's the type of scrambling that we've been doing. And they're incredibly skilled at hemorrhage limitation, other ways to control hemorrhage, but there are a select group of patients for whom there is no alternative. And you would hate to have to tell a family member, if only we had had more donors or more blood, your young and otherwise healthy loved one would have survived. So what has this meant for us? We've been postponing surgeries at times, some of them organ donations and critical surgeries at some of the facilities in our county, whose delays put that patient at risk. And our disaster planning as hospitals, we challenge our acute care hospitals to be able to care for up to 50 patients in a major trauma incident in 50 minutes. And so you can see if we're out of blood and we're aware that an incident, and we've had several, many mass casualty incidents in our county and some near misses, as you all know, in the last couple of years. And so we continue to prepare for that. So on the disaster management side of this is what keeps me awake at night. Our local experience is that we know that we need about 40 units of type O blood on a regular basis in our blood bank and an additional 100 units at LifeStream on reserve, and that just hasn't been the case. So as I got frustrated, I started to do a little research, and I realized that our own institution is one of the most active hospitals in terms of blood drives, and we collect about 70 units a month. And I thought, well, clearly that's enough, until I discovered that we use 700 units at just our own facility, and so we only contribute about 10%, so we really need a lot of help. So what have other hospitals been doing? They've been working together to limit the amount of blood that's been used at their facilities, advanced techniques in hemorrhage control. We've been promoting autologous donations, where when people are scheduled for a surgery, they can come in and donate ahead of time and actually receive their own blood later. We've been encouraging family members, when their loved ones go in for surgery, to donate, even if their blood might not be used for their own loved one. And our hospitals have been meeting together to bring many blood drives at institutions that haven't previously done them. And we've been doing public campaigns. You've seen us on the news and reaching out to local leaders. So what are other organizations doing? All 3 blood banks are expanding access to donations. We've been meeting with schools and superintendents and pleading with them to resume and start their donations. Both of our public health departments in Riverside and San Bernardino have been very helpful at facilitating those relationships. Schools have a lot of other priorities right now. They're just trying to stay open and keep their teachers in session. And so we understand the hesitation, but we need community leaders to be meeting with them and encouraging them that it's safe to bring a blood bank onto their campus and to drive these donations. And we're seeing some progress there, but there's still many that have not, and they're still canceling. Even just recently this week, they're canceling blood drives on their campus because of the priorities and concerns over COVID. So we really need to be encouraging them, and we understand the concerns and the challenges that we're facing, but we can't afford to have them canceling their drives right now. We've seen tremendous partnership from public agencies. I mentioned the public health departments, our emergency management department, Riverside County Medical Association and San Bernardino County Medical Society with their physician groups are all working to bring attention to this. CAL FIRE, Riverside Sheriff's Department, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office are all leading their own blood drives, as they're very acutely aware and incredibly supportive of fixing this problem. To highlight a couple of great initiatives that I think we can learn from and expand on, Linda Evans with the Desert Care Network and La Quinta Mayor sponsors a 9-city blood drive in the eastern part of the county, where they do a competition every summer, and they've done this for about 9 years. So I think it would be great to look at that and mirror that throughout the many districts. There's a Fearless Fighters competition where every summer police, fire departments, and EMTs and their agencies compete to see who can give the most blood, and they've done that for the last 7. So in closing, blood can work miracles. I could share multiple stories with you, even on my last shift, of a patient whose blood pressure was dropping, his heart was about to stop, and as we called for 6 units of emergency release blood and began infusing him, he went from almost pulseless to awake, alert, and talking to us. Had somebody not donated that blood, I would have had to have watched that patient die right in front of me. Blood is life-saving. I hadn't donated blood since I was in high school until I became aware of this. I was able to donate on a Wednesday, and on a Saturday, LifeStream sent me a text and let me know that the blood I had donated was being given to a patient at my hospital and was saving their life. I happened to be out coaching soccer at that time, so what an amazing thing to know that your blood was able to help someone. The final call to action is to donate personally. Thank you for setting up the blood drive here at the county building today. We need more businesses and more leaders. We need our schools to go online and support those and to go donate. If you can't personally donate, we need you to encourage family members, loved ones, and others. You have to be 15 to donate, but high school students have been a tremendous resource. My own school had not done high school where my kids go, had not done a blood drive until I called and reached out to them, and they're doing one next week sponsored by their ASB. And the students are getting service hours for organizing the whole drive. And lastly is our faith-based organizations, businesses, and public organizations to sponsor drives. So thank you. This is clearly a tremendous challenge, but I'm very hopeful. I think with leaders like these men behind me and support from leaders like yourself, this is something that we can fix. I'm hopeful post-COVID that we will actually be stronger as a result of all the new donors we bring into our system, and that we can collect 100% of our blood need here in Riverside County. Thank you.
So you've got it set up right outside here, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a call from this board up here. We have 22,000 employees. That's a lot of donors, potentially. We've seen what happens when you have a drought of water. It takes nature and some luck to get some atmospheric rivers to come over, and dump it and get us out of that drought. The good part of this is we don't need nature to step in. We can cure this drought of blood, right? And we can do that by all of us stepping up. I will be, after this meeting, I will be donating blood. I haven't for some time. This is coming up in front of us, and we need to do this. This directly saves lives. And I want to call on each and every one of you to feel that you're safe enough. Look, it's a needle in your arm. Most of us have gotten vaccines and stuff, so needles we shouldn't be that afraid of, and let's do what we can. I really appreciate that. And with this, I'm going to give you this National Blood Donor Month proclamation to the three of you. And basically, if you guys want, we can read it. You pretty much covered everything up here. That's right. So here you go. We're going to take this. And would you guys like to say a few words, Supervisor Washington?
Well, there's a video they wanted to show too.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe when we get back, I think we can turn the video on. Thank you, Dr. Masiska. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. I couldn't say anything more meaningful than what you just shared. Thank you for your work.
And you want to call
Is someone here from LifeStream? I thought that they were planning to participate up here. As she's coming up, I just want to say is that my goal was to be a 10-gallon giver, and I'm only 8.8 gallons. But I had to stop. Age and veins and all that fun stuff. We get older and things change. I may go try again today. But I always had the philosophy, if you don't give now when you can, it won't be there for you or your family member when you need it. And it's really important. I know people are afraid of needles or they're afraid of this, but the reality is somebody you know needs that blood. We need to be responsible. You just can't always give your time and your money. Remember that blood, sweat, and tears, though.
Good morning. So I'm Dina Kalunga. I'm the Public Relations Specialist with LifeStream Blood Bank. I want to thank the board for recognizing National Blood Donor Month. Like we said, it is very critical right now. It's one of the worst in history. Thank you for hosting a blood drive today. We're here until 3, so I encourage everyone who is able to donate. And if not today, then you can make an appointment for future donations at lstream.org or by calling 1-800-TRY-GIVING. So thank you, board, again.
Thank you, Supervisor Spiegel, for bringing that. That's a very, very important part. So if we get around here, we can do some pictures, I believe. Here you go. Oh, you want to do that? Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do the picture, then we can watch it when you sit down. Here you go. So you guys hold this.
LifeStream is a nonprofit organization that provides blood products and services to more than 80 Southern California hospitals and medical facilities in 6 counties. To fulfill patient need, LifeStream must collect 500 blood donations daily. Our mission is to help save lives by connecting donors and patients through the gift of blood. To make this mission a reality, LifeStream has local donor centers and conducts about 1,700 mobile blood drives annually throughout our service area at schools, churches, businesses, government offices, hospitals, and service clubs, where generous volunteer blood donors can give the gift of life.
All right, at this time, we'd like to make another proclamation. Can we have Commander Chris Meyer, Teresa Leach, and John Welsh come up to the front?